Good morning, it's Barbara. Thank you for joining me for coffee. It's a dreary day. It's going to be raining later, but right now it's just dreary. Good morning, it's Barbara. Thank you for joining me for coffee. Andrea Penrose. I had to just look up. I just had to look up the name of the author of the book I read yesterday because I thought, I would just tell you that. I don't remember the name of the book, The Murder at some Black Swan Road or something like that. Andrea Penrose. So apparently I'm enjoying Regency Mysteries, and so I just put Regency Mystery into my library app, and Andrea Penrose came up, and I read the first book in the series yesterday, and I enjoyed it a lot. The other mysteries, Regency mysteries that I have read have been a little bit like a combination mystery romance. There wasn't any romance in this, which I thought was interesting. I'm expecting romance in later books just because of the relationship of these two people, but yeah. So the main character is a woman who is a widow and an artist, and she does like political cartoons that get printed like as broadsheets, and it's sort of like a, really, cutting take on the aristocracy and other things going on in London in 1880. And but nobody knows that it's a woman who's doing these political cartoons. So anyway, that's her story. And I enjoyed it a lot. So I got the second one. I may be reading again today. It could just be I'm reading. Maybe I'm just reading. I just read yesterday. I didn't end up doing any crafting. Dennis and I cooked. We made our carnivore bread. So we're having sandwiches today for dinner. Sandwiches are not something that you often have in keto. So this bread works. From a YouTube channel called Dave Cooks Nashville. And he's a carnivore, and he comes up with all these crazy recipes. But this is a crazy recipe that it's almost like a mousse, but you bake it, and it really does read like a bread. It's interesting. So anyway, we made that together yesterday. And did a lot of talking about the world and listening to music and reading. So that was yesterday. Today, I'm expecting it to go a little bit the same. We are expecting a big storm tonight, a couple inches of rain. So we're going to have water in the basement. Then a few nice days. Tomorrow's supposed to be pretty nice. And I'm doing my shopping excursion with the girls tomorrow. And then the maids come on Monday, and on Tuesday, we're supposed to get 5 inches of snow. So trying to plan ahead. I think I'm going to Shady Maple today and get a box of chicken. You can buy the chicken in 40-pound boxes, and we feed our dogs chicken. So I think I might take a ride to Shady Maple. They're not open on Sunday, because they're Amish run or plain folk run, and so they're closed on Sunday. And the maids are coming on Monday, so if I'm going to go to Shady Maple and not just try to grab as much chicken as I can in the grocery stores, then I need to go today. If I don't go today, then I'll just do something else, and it'll be fine. We'll see. But there's a part of me that's ready to get out into the world a little bit, and so taking a ride through Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, which is one of, a beautiful area that's a lot of people come just to drive around. It's not a hardship. in any way. Shady Maple's interesting. get a few things that you can only get there, and we'll be all set for the weather that's coming. Just set us up for the weather that's coming. That's the plan. So I'm probably going to do that just to get out of the house and, you know, a little bit. I go by myself. Dennis, you know, would just as soon not go. So I will do that, I think, just to move around a bit. Now, the store next to Shady Maple is called Goods, and it's also run by the Plain people of Lancaster County. And it is a really old-timey general store. They sell everything but groceries. They don't sell groceries. But you can buy farm implements, garden stuff, shoes, clothing, you know, DMC floss, Yeti cups. You can, you know, so whatever you might possibly need. That's not food. I don't even know if they sell any kind of packaged foods. Like, I guess I've seen candy. I've seen candy there and stuff like that. But they don't sell groceries. They're right next to Shady Maple. There's no point in them selling groceries. So if I could think of anything that I might need to buy that's not groceries, I would go to Goods because I'm going to be there. But I can't think of anything. And I'm not just going to go shopping. So, but it will be nice, I think, to feel good to get out of the house. Make sure we have, I do, you know, like to make sure we have enough food and everything whenever we have a big storm. Because the plan is, you know, we're retired now that Aura lives with us. In the old, you know, in the olden days when she lived, and she and Garland and then her by herself lived, you know, in their house, we would have to clear our driveway early so that we could go over there and make sure they were okay. And, you know, now Aura in her, you know, widow years there, her neighbor across the street often cleared her driveway. Well, it's not a driveway. It was a parking spot, cleared her parking spot, cleared her car, and cleared her walkway for her. So we, in the end, didn't have to go. But we always had to be ready for an emergency. I mean, we had to be able to get out. But since she's living here, we don't feel nearly it doesn't feel nearly as urgent for us to have to get out. And we have four-wheel drive. So we can get out even if it snows and we haven't shoveled. So the urgency to shovel is a little bit gone. I mean, January of 2014 was the first month I was retired. I retired December 31st, 2013. I swear, I am not exaggerating. Every single day in January, when we got up, we looked at each other and said, oh, what are we going to do today after we shovel? It snowed every day. It was crazy. It was crazy. But we didn't have to shovel at all last year. So anyway, we're feeling like we don't have, you know, it's not going to be a big deal, but we want to be prepared, and I want everything in the house so we don't have to go out. And of course, if I don't go and we don't, you know, have chicken, we'll get by. The dogs won't starve. We won't starve. We have lots of food in the freezer, but not necessarily dog chicken. You know, but you know, if the dogs get to eat organic chicken, it won't kill them. Or us. But I think I'm going to go because I am feeling like getting out of the house. So anyway, well, it's a little strange around here. Dennis took a picture. We had a pair of bluebirds on our deck yesterday. Now, bluebirds emigrate. No. Migrate. No, because they come back. If they emigrated, that would mean they were staying. Bluebirds migrate. And what the heck are they doing in Pennsylvania in January? And we've had some really cold days, and they eat bugs. So, I mean, they'll eat seeds if they have to, and apparently they're going to have to. Although Dennis says we have some grubs. We have grubs. We had gotten as bird food for, you know, feeding wild birds, and I'm reminding him he's going to go look for the grubs. So we may be putting grubs out for the bluebirds so that they have some food. But, you know, Aura sits up in her room and she can look out the back from her chair in her bedroom. And she sits there and she's just looking for wildlife. And she's like, I swear I saw a bluebird the other day and I couldn't believe it. And Dennis is like, oh yeah, they're out there right now. Well, Dennis and I thought we saw, and I'll put here's the bluebird that he got a good picture of. There were actually a pair. One in each of those lime trees. But we thought we saw, oh God, here it is. He just brought it up. Here are we have grubs. We do not have any of those animals that poultry, reptiles, or amphibians. So he bought these for our birds, wild birds. Anyway, that's pretty funny. So we will be feeding the bluebirds, but we thought we saw robins hopping around in our yard. I mean, like, what the heck are robins doing? The spring, the coming of spring is when the robins return. Does this, you know, I know now in our area, the geese no longer migrate, or a large number of geese no longer migrate. They end up living all year round because the office parks have these lakes in them that are catch basins, but they're lakes and they're there all the time. And, you know, apparently there's enough to be gotten gleaning the fields after they've harvested and whatever they find in these lakes and around the office parks and stuff. So we have geese year round, which didn't used to be the case. In fact, now that I think about it, this fall, we saw very few sort of V's of geese flying south. We are in, you know, a flyway for geese going north and south. And we do not see very many geese this year. So one of the things that has changed because of the way we in this area are using our landscapes and such, the geese don't migrate. But now we're seeing bluebirds in January and robins. Very strange. Very strange. We have a lot of grubs. We don't do anything by half, you know.
That was the only size they had.
He says that's the only size they had. Who's they?
I don't remember where I got them now.
Yeah, I don't remember either. You've had them for a long time, but obviously that doesn't matter.
Freeze-dried.
They're freeze-dried. Freeze-dried grubs. Now, I've eaten a grub. I ate a grub in Ecuador.
You ate one in Australia, too, didn't you?
Did I? No. Didn't I? I don't know. Dennis thinks I ate one in Australia, but that was 20-something years ago.
30.
No, it wasn't.
It was 95, 96.
Whatever. Nearly 30 years ago. I can't even remember how long ago it was. And shut up. You're supposed to be quiet back there. But we were and I said Ecuador. It wasn't Ecuador. It was Peru. We were in Iquitos, Peru, and right along the Amazon. It's right at the beginning of the Amazon, Iquitos, in Peru. And we were there for low tide, low Amazon season. And the Amazon up at the beginning of the Amazon, the height of the river changes about 30 feet depending on the season. And we were there at low season. So we were going around, well, mostly in a bus, but in Iquitos. And we were going through neighborhoods that were on, you know, the houses were on 30-foot stilts. Because, you know, and they had giant staircases going up to these houses on 30-foot stilts because they were very close to the river. And when the river was higher, their front yard was water. So during the high water season, that, you know, they came and went on to their house on boats. But anyway, so we're driving around and we stop at this little market on our trip leader jumps out of the bus and goes to a street vendor, and he buys a skewer full of grilled grubs, which is a treat in Peru. And so he was giving anybody who was interested in trying, it was not required, a taste of these grubs. So I had a half a grub. It was crispy on the outside. It tasted a little bacony. It was soft on the inside. They eat them. Well, we were at a lodge area up the river, actually on a different trip, and we had a lunch, a farm. We went to a farm that was a fascinating farm, and it was all in the jungle, and you would walk along and there would be coffee trees. They were growing shade coffee. And then this plant here gives you yucca. This plant here is hearts of palm. I mean, you would no more identify that as a farm in the American sense of what a farm, the USA sense of what a farm would look like. I wouldn't have known it was a farm, but it was, and it was quite a successful one. Anyway, we had our lunch there, and they made a buffet, and it was delicious. It was, ginger leaf wrapped fish and all kinds of different stuff. And then he had these little packages of leaf wrap, and he's shaking them, and he's like, "Do you know what these are? Do you know?" And they put them on the grill in the package, and then they opened it up, and it was these grubs that you can pick in the farm. And nobody on our trip took the grubs, including me. I didn't take the grubs. But we were sitting around, eating and talking, and this little kid, she was probably 4. I'm guessing she was 4. She snuck in to the table that had the buffet, and she's going and running away. So she ate all the grubs. They were like a super treat for her. So anyway, jungle bacon, that's what they called it, jungle bacon. Anyway, so we have grubs, which we will not be eating in the house, but Dennis will put some out for the bluebirds. So we have bluebirds. That's crazy. Yeah, everything's crazy. Anyway, so now I got to find that picture Dennis sent me. It's somewhere on my phone. I'll find it and put it up. I already have. You've already seen it. All right, I'm going to go. Please take good care of yourselves. Please, please stay safe and stay sane.